In the dusty square of a small frontier town, they called her a witch and tied her to a wooden post. Cordelia Nash, bound by coarse rope, her dress torn and stained with dirt, stood silent. Her chin lifted defiantly, her eyes holding not fear but a deep disappointment in the people before her. For 3 years, she had healed their children, delivered their babies, and tended their sick. Now, those same townsfolk gathered, baying for her blood. The post pressed against her back as Mayor Gideon Pratt read the charges from a crumpled paper. Cordelia Nash, you stand accused of practicing dark arts, cursing our livestock, and bringing death through unholy means. She wanted to laugh at the absurdity, but her throat was raw from hours of pleading her innocence. 3 deaths in a week, old Henrik's weak heart, Sarah's premature baby, and drunk Pete's fall down a well, were natural in this harsh land. But fear made people foolish. They needed a scapegoat, and the solitary woman with her herbs was an easy target. The crowd surged closer, faces twisted with righteous fury. Mrs. Henderson, whose fever Cordelia had broken last month, spat at her feet. Young Tommy Briggs, whose arm she'd set, hurled a stone that bruised her shoulder. Their betrayal cut deeper than any wound. Burn the witch, someone yelled. Hang her, another screamed. Pratt raised a hand for silence. Death by hanging, to be carried out immediately. Cordelia closed her eyes, picturing the noose soon to tighten around her neck. She thought of her grandmother's teachings, the healing knowledge that would die with her, plants to stop bleeding, teas to ease labor, poultices to draw infection. All would vanish because fear demanded a monster. Preacher William approached with the noose, his hands trembling. Their eyes met briefly, and she saw doubt flicker in his face, but the mob's hunger drowned it out. Any last words, witch? Pratt demanded. Cordelia opened her mouth, but the thunder of hooves interrupted. Dust swirled at the town's edge as a lone rider galloped toward them. The crowd squinted into the sun, unaware that this stranger carried secrets darker than their accusations, and his arrival would turn their day of judgment into something far more perilous. The rider burst into the square, his black horse rearing as he yanked the reins. Townsfolk scrambled back. The man dismounted, his long coat dust-caked, his face shadowed under a wide-brimmed hat. Twin guns hung low on his hips, and his every step carried the quiet menace of someone familiar with violence. What's the celebration? His voice sliced through the murmurs, calm but edged with danger. Pratt straightened his vest, feigning authority. Nothing that concerns you, stranger. We're handling local justice. The man's eyes scanned the scene, the post, the rope, Cordelia's bound form. Something hardened in his expression. He'd seen enough executions to recognize innocence. This woman wasn't begging or weeping, she stood resolute, ready to die for a lie. Local justice, he repeated, the words bitter. What's her crime? Witchcraft. Mrs. Henderson shrieked. She killed 3 with her devil magic. The stranger stepped closer to Cordelia, studying her. No madness, no cruelty, just exhaustion and sorrow he knew too well. How'd she do it? He asked. Poisoned them with herbs. Tommy shouted. Cursed them with spells. Herbs. The stranger nodded. So, she's a healer. An abomination. Preacher William clutched his Bible. The Lord commands no witch shall live. A cold glint flashed in the stranger's eyes. The Lord also commands mercy, if memory serves. He moved toward Cordelia, and the crowd parted instinctively. Something about him unnerved them, not evil, but dangerous, like a coiled rattlesnake. What's your name? He asked her quietly. Cordelia Nash, she answered, her voice steady. Did you kill those people, Miss Nash? No. I tried to save them. He studied her a moment longer, then faced the crowd. You're about to murder an innocent woman. Pratt's face reddened. This is none of your concern. Can't let it happen, the stranger said, his hand drifting toward his gun. I've got a problem with innocent people dying. Call it a flaw. The crowd stirred, some reaching for weapons, but his calm lethality gave them pause. You defend a witch? William demanded. I defend anyone from a mob, he replied. Question is, are you willing to kill 2 today instead of 1? The air grew heavy. Pratt, sensing his authority slipping, called out, Boys, we got a problem. 6 ranch hands stepped forward, hands on guns. They were decent with rifles, not pistols. The stranger, Thorne Blackwood, as he'd soon reveal, assessed them with a predator's calm, calculating angles and odds. Mayor, Thorne said, conversational but deadly, you sure about this? Once guns come out, people die, and you won't like who. You're outnumbered 6 to 1, Pratt sneered. 7 to 1, Thorne corrected, his lips twitching. You forgot yourself. Cordelia's wrists burned under the ropes. This man was about to die for her, a stranger. Please, she whispered, don't die for me. He glanced back, and for a moment, his mask slipped, revealing a deep, broken pain. Ma'am, I've been looking for a good reason to die. This'll do. What's your name? She pressed. Thorne Blackwood. The name rippled through the crowd. Men paled, one ranch hand stepped back. Blackwood? William's voice cracked. The Blackwood from Colorado? Thorne's face hardened. Depends what you heard about Colorado. He killed 8 men in Deadwood, a ranch hand whispered. The crowd's mood shifted. They'd come for a witch's death, now they faced a legend. Pratt, cornered by his own pride, doubled down. I don't care who you are. Justice will be served. Thorne nodded, accepting the inevitable. Let's get this over with. His hands dropped to his guns, but a new voice cut through the tension. Stop. Dr. Edmund Hayes pushed through, medical bag in hand, sweat on his brow. She's not a witch. Every eye turned to him. I killed them, he confessed, voice breaking. Silence fell. Hayes produced a bottle of laudanum, trembling. I've been taking it for back pain. Got worse after a fall. I needed more, and I mixed the doses wrong. Henrik, Sarah's baby, Pete, they came to me when Cordelia's herbs weren't enough. I overdosed them. The crowd reeled. Cordelia's ropes were cut, and she rubbed her wrists, stunned. Why didn't you speak sooner? Thorne asked, his voice icy. Hayes met his gaze, hollow. I'm a coward. When they blamed Cordelia, I let them, to save my reputation. You were going to let her die, Thorne stated. Hayes flinched but nodded. Cordelia stepped forward, her voice firm. He confessed. That took more courage than any of you showed today. The crowd shifted, shame replacing fury. They'd nearly killed an innocent woman. Pratt, ever the politician, tried to pivot. Dr. Hayes will face charges. No, Cordelia interrupted. He saved my life by speaking out. She turned to Hayes. Get help for your addiction. Next time, there might not be a scapegoat. Hayes nodded, chastened. Thorne leaned close to Cordelia, whispering, leave tonight. Forgiveness doesn't erase fear. They'll turn on you again. She saw hostile glances, Mrs. Henderson's whispers, Tommy's scowl. Pratt's hollow apology confirmed Thorne's warning. Keep your apology, she said. I've learned what kind of people you are. As another rider approached, a badge glinting, the crowd parted. Deputy Marshal Crawford strode toward Thorne. Thorne Blackwood, you're under arrest for Judge Harrison's murder in Colorado. Gasps rose. Cordelia saw no guilt in Thorne's eyes, only resignation. You've been hunting me for 7 months? Thorne asked, calm. Ever since Harrison was shot, Crawford replied. Thorne admitted being at Harrison's office but insisted the judge was alive when he left. He revealed Harrison had overturned a wrongful conviction, Samuel Garrett, Thorne's brother, imprisoned for 5 years for a murder he didn't commit. Garrett's wife died of illness, his daughter maimed in a factory. Thorne's pain spilled out, he trusted the system, and it destroyed his family. Crawford hesitated, then pulled out papers. "We caught the real killer, Harrison's clerk, stealing from estates. You're free, Thorne." The crowd fell silent. Freedom, for Thorne, was a cruel gift. "What do I do with that?" he asked, hollow. Cordelia spoke up. "You defended me today. That's not cowardice." Thorne met her gaze, his self-hatred raw. "I could have saved my brother. My faith in justice killed my family." Pratt, sensing opportunity, offered Thorne the sheriff's job. Thorne declined, disgusted. As the crowd dispersed, Cordelia and Thorne remained. "I'm leaving tonight," she said. "Where?" he asked. "Somewhere I can help people who want it." She paused. "And you?" "I've been running toward death so long, I forgot how to run toward life." They left together, two broken souls on horseback, under starlight. 3 months later, in Haven Creek, Dr. Cordelia Nash healed lives, and Sheriff Thorne Blackwood upheld justice. They lived apart but close, their quiet bond growing, proving redemption comes not from erasing sins but from choosing to do better.